broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Woo! Yeah, let the buzz begin. We are back with another episode of Into the Badlands. Cue the themes. Welcome. Another great episode. Sorry we're a few days late. This is our new air time, so please write that down. Tuesdays if you guys are watching us live. Otherwise, just check out the iTunes, SoundCloud. Just Google AfterBuzz. You'll find wherever is most convenient for you. I'm your host, JB Zimmerman. Joining us is, on the panel right here.
Hey guys, I'm Maria Cavassuto, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MGCVSST.
Nice. Alexis is also here. She's just in the booth, multitasking.
Hey, yes, I am multitasking. But hey guys, you can find me all over social media as ATorres890, and I'm so excited to talk about this episode because it's so good.
I know it is so good.
Really amazing.
It is so good. So, yeah, right off the bat, we get right into the action. Love it. Love the premiere episode, obviously. It's kind of had a lot of story to set up, but now that we're in the season, you know, they can do a lot more fun things, like opening with many knives being thrown into people's chests, which they did.
You know, I just love that this show literally, I don't think we had that slow build-up as we have on other shows. We just kind of went right into it. There's like a bunch of action going on, and you really no slow moments, which I absolutely appreciate.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. I mean, it feels like it's, you know, pieces of a movie that we're just watching in, you know, weekly installments, where it picked up exactly where we left off. You know, we knew who the characters were. All of a sudden, the widow walks in, and, you know, even though we had some new people, we knew what was going on. There didn't need to be this whole, like, read a synopsis or what have you. We just flow right into that fight scene. I mean, I'm not really sure what the whole relationship with Teague, the widow's former regent, was, but obviously it was tumultuous. He left for some reason. We also got some background story on the widow. Her name is Minerva.
That is right. Also something that she's totally left behind, because she's like, I'm no longer that person anymore. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very out of character to who she is now. And I think that might be reason why she's sort of buried that in the past, because she does not look like a Minerva. I would not expect a Minerva to murder so many people so quickly.
Yeah, I think the widow is a much more suited name for her.
I think it's like murder, Minerva.
Ooh,
kind
interesting.
of alliteration type stuff.
Kind of. I just think the one thing I wanted to like talk about, which we didn't get to talk about on the first episode, was the fact that I love how she's literally in all black and just her hair is red, like a black widow.
Well,
yes,
they play with
definitely.
color. They play with so much color.
Like, that's so cool. But yeah, no, murderer Minerva. Is how,
Murderer Minerva the murderer.
There you go.
Yeah, no, she is. I mean, I don't know if you guys talked about this very much, but yeah, the red hair being very vibrant.
And just the blood is so vibrant on this show, so it just kind of like plays up with her hair.
Blood splatter.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I love that though. I mean, it's done in, I think, the perfect amount, where it is very graphic, it's very explosive, but it's not comical. It's still like just shy of being unrealistic. So, you know, you're never in too much of the fantasy where it feels like these aren't human beings.
But you know what? I actually, as I was watching this show, I'm thinking like, I'm having kind of like deja vu with Kill Bill. Anyone?
I mean, it's similar. So definitely with the
much.
with the swords and the kung fu and the slicing of limbs for sure.
It's kind of obvious, but well, I mean, I felt like I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
But it totally does, but respectable in the same way.
Right.
That
I mean,
Kill Bill is.
I definitely liked Kill Bill. I feel like it's like one hair below that where it's like not, a continuous fountain of blood that like sprays.
that's totally.
I mean,
unrealistic,
I love blood spray. Believe me, I bring on the blood spray.
So did you enjoy when they hacked off that arm at one point and like the blood was just like
splattering out? Yeah, I did. But like it wasn't too much. Like it did that for a second, and then we went on to more killing and stabbing. Specifically, one move where the widow like stabs the guy in the foot and then like continuously up the entire dude's body was very cool. So the props to the whole stunt team. Well done, keep it up.
Good stuff.
I'm definitely a fan of all that.
Also with the shoe. The shoe was like, I feel like that was the most killer, like, badass move that she could have possibly had. Really, because that just, like...
She was killing people with her heels.
Yeah!
Like,
yeah.
Holy crap.
That says, like, female, like, I don't know, femme fatale, really. So I loved that little piece of it.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I think that they extend that to the whole episode. I mean, even the series itself by having one Baron or at least one being a woman, and sort of her entire crew is full of women. I mean, MK even mentions that he didn't even see any guys at all, like on the entire farm, even when she mentions that she had sons.
Which, like, I wonder what happened with that son, because she doesn't really make any other mention.
Yeah, she glosses over it very suspiciously. Alexis, what do you think about that?
I was thinking that maybe because, I don't know, maybe she doesn't want her son because that's the only way that she can have an heir, technically. Because technically when she gets married
interesting,
off,
right.
she changes her name, technically. So if she has a son, maybe she's put them in hiding, or maybe put them in a different area with a different Baron or something of that nature.
Interesting.
Because I feel like she's just trying to protect her own.
Right. That's actually a really good point, because I remember from the first episode, the Baron, Quinn, was talking to his wife about how kind of disappointed he was in his own son and that he wasn't strong enough to take the throne. You know, he even wishes that he would kind of dethrone him and like stage a coup. Because this whole world is very cutthroat, very for yourself.
Literally.
Yeah,
Yes, literally.
But it's so funny because, like, I feel like her daughters are very, very strong. So
Right.
I mean, I guess in like a classical, like, males are heirs or whatever to the throne would be the right way. But I guess like her daughters could,
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because that's what I was going through. But technically, they can have more daughters that would be technically under her name. That's why she could do that. But
Right.
I know what you mean. It's kind of like, oh, well, why would it be that way? So, I don't know.
Yeah, there might be some more information where the next in line to the throne wouldn't be the daughter. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see how that fleshes out about the political hierarchies of Baronism, if you will.
Now that you say that, in terms of the hierarchy, it definitely seems like there's a couple sisters, right? And even just the widow kind of mentions it, like, oh, I know one of your sisters would gladly do it. And she's like, no, it's my responsibility, kind of thing. I feel like there's such an interesting power play among the families that we've seen so far. Just kind of vying for power, vying for attention, and always wanting to be close to like the Baron and having their respect, kind of, because they're nasty. Those Barons are nasty.
They are. And yeah, I wonder how many there are. I mean, we learned that Quinn is the most powerful of all the Barons and has the biggest Clipper force. But sort of like, how did that come to be? I mean, he reveals in his own sort of backstory how he kind of got his start. We don't necessarily know much after that, but he started as sort of a no-name. His parents were, or his dad at least, was a poppy picker, I guess, farmer.
Yeah.
And when he got killed, that's sort of when Quinn went in to be a Clipper and started as a cult.
Based off of just the simple information that he gives off and just kind of how this world works, I really think that it's kind of like you kill, what is it? You keep what you kill. Is that like the phrase? So, I mean, the widow's trying to get rid of Quinn, and she's like, oh, you guys, somebody else will be able to take this territory. So I feel like Quinn did the same thing with whoever his Baron was, and he kept he killed. If that's what
Right.
ended up happening, but that's what I assume happened.
Well, yeah, it's a very feudal world going on where there's a lot of killing and backstabbing, and stealing and taking, and it seems like whoever conquers who can kind of have the lay of the land. Even when the widow is making a deal with the nomads, I can only assume as nomads they wouldn't have a plot of land to be a baron.
Yeah,
but
correct.
she offers to give them one. So that was very interesting. That even I assume if she takes Quinn's land, that maybe she has more to relinquish to the nomads.
I thought she would be taking she would keep her post and then have one of them take Quinn's
Right.
land, but she would be like kind of the authority in the region.
Right.
And I think there's like 7 barons, so
Interesting.
we don't really know what everyone does other than poppy farmers per
Right.
se, and then oil for the widow. So it would be interesting to see what other kind of industries are in the Badlands.
Exactly. I wish we had like a map like in Game of Thrones where it just like flies over and shows everywhere. Because there's a
here's
lot
this.
going on. There's a lot of families here. A lot of I don't even what would you call them? Like sects or like groups, factions?
I don't know.
Factions? I feel like factions would be probably the best word
Which
that
is
I would
so
think
funny
of.
because I'm thinking of, what is it, Divergent that has factions?
That's Divergent.
So I was like, I don't know if we can do
Yeah,
that.
just-
Oops.
Is it trademarked? I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out, I know this might be like a really dumb question or thought, but I don't understand what year we're in. Because the fact that they're using words that we haven't used in a while,
Right.
obviously their technology is different because we don't have the internet and things like that.
But
so-
we do have cars.
We do.
Yeah,
We do have
that's why I'm like,
motorcycles.
Yeah.
Motorcycles and horses at the
So
same
I'm very
time.
confused.
Always
Yeah.
funny to see that in the same scene. I saw the 2 horses with Sonny and Ryder, and then you see the car, and I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, it's in like a early 1900s or 20th century, I guess.
Yeah, 'cause-
car.
Yeah, because also the X-ray machine.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, really
That's
good
what-
model of the tumor, and the doctor was like, "Well, like, oh, it's a tumor.
Yeah.
Can't do anything."
So,
But I guess that's one of the things you get when you like kind of mesh all these genres together. You can kind of make it on your own and kind of like pick and choose what you want, and it kind of break those boundaries a little bit.
Right.
yeah, because I can like I don't know the character's name, but the guy with the monocle. I was like, okay, so it's like a steampunk era, and then it's like, oh, an X-ray machine. I'm like, wait, I'm confused.
You mean the like what I think is an X region? The guy
Yes,
in the
yes,
wheelchair.
In the wheelchair.
Yeah.
The birds.
Yeah, his name is
Waldo?
Waldo, thank you.
We found him. Found Waldo. Boom.
But yeah, I was like, okay, so he has a monocle, because apparently there's no one with glasses that I've seen yet, and then we have an X-ray machine. So I was like, I'm confused.
Yeah, no cell phones, but X-rays we
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah, but I mean, like X-rays have a bit of a
Yeah,
older
they've
history
been
side.
around for a lot longer.
We just
so.
since we didn't see the machine or what they used to do them with, we're like, that's where I guess the little confusion comes in. But yeah, you can kind of mix
Right.
and match.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's sort of an alternate reality. I mean, the whole Badlands thing, I mean, they are kind of cagey with how much information they talk about it, but it's interesting because people don't know a world like outside of their particular farm. So much so that like they're keeping it either some people are keeping it a secret, some people are just born into it. I mean, the medallion is a big deal because it has a symbol that isn't one of the known barren lands. And so that's... So maybe there was like some type of apocalypse or something.
I mean, I know that it represents Azra, right? But like so far, we haven't seen that, and really all we're going off of is what MK says. But he comes from there, so it's got to be this place that exists. But at the same time, Sunny doesn't know this place, or at least we don't know that he knows this place. So it's kind of like hope and dreaming, and that's I assume where he's gonna want Vale to go, because that's the only place that's not really ruled by all these barons and where you have all this feudal society. So I guess it's just like, in a way, I kind of see it as like their paradise or their heaven, maybe.
Right. But obtainable. I mean, like, obviously because...
On this realm, in
Yes.
this realm.
a place we can actually visit and still be alive, which is a
Yes.
plus.
And enjoy. And enjoy while we're still, up and running.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder where MK's mom is. I mean, because she, I think, has all the answers. If she had the medallion, she would obviously have to have gone to Azra and, would maybe know a thing or two.
Well, according to fans that I was reading, they think that Ryder's mother knows or is the mother because of the way she reacted in the first episode.
Interesting. That would be a twist.
Like, that would be a twist.
That's a killer theory. I like that a lot, actually.
But even when they were at, I guess it was breakfast or dinner, I don't really know what they were eating. But when Ryder first presents the medallion to Quinn. I'm thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy Quill.
Right.
And he's like, "Do you know what this is?" And like the white, like Lydia looked like she's like, "I'm just gonna sip my coffee and just and ignore what's happening." So I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about it.
So then, but MK has seen Lydia. So then that would mean that maybe who MK thinks is his mom. You know, because he said we got separated, so he knows what his mom like looks like. So maybe it's not his real mom.
So maybe Lydia knows maybe where the mom is.
Lydia, maybe she knows the mom at least. Maybe they're sisters.
Yeah, or something.
That's crazy. I mean, I really want to know why or how Sonny found the medallion. We saw him kind of grab it out of like someone's dead hand, but I want to find out more about that and sort of why he's kept it. Why he pretends not to know anything about this place. It was the second time he lied about it. I mean, to his like boss, like directly. I mean, first time it was to Ryder, but to keep that in like as a secret is pretty big news. Just because he is supposed to be completely loyal to the entire family for everything.
But even in that loyalty, he shows some sort of reserve, I guess, when Quinn asks him to clip those two people, the doctor and his wife and Hannah, and he's like, no. So I think that loyalty, you starting seeing little cracks in his armor because he's getting really beat up on with all these different things that are happening. Even just the little things of MK and the medallion and maybe like, and obviously this last thing that we saw.
I mean, that was, such a crazy scene to watch. I mean, so many things were happening. We learned that Baron's gonna die. Quinn's literally has months to live. Then we find out that that doctor family is also the caretaker of Vale, Sonny's girlfriend, / maybe fiance, baby's mama, whatever you want to call it. And, they also delivered Ryder. They have been loyal to the family for so long. And
so much information in that one scene.
I know, crazy.
And how he's willing to just dispose of them.
Exactly. I mean, a pretty big secret that
that could destroy him.
Yeah. I mean, and having that kind of power, like you have to protect it with everything.
And even though they're loyal, and I guess they wouldn't necessarily I'm thinking but they wouldn't say anything, right?
Yeah, but what if the widow came and tried to get information?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You can't leave any loose ends.
You can't.
Oh, but it makes me so sad.
I know. I mean, I'm surprised that the interaction between Sonny and Quinn wasn't more negative after he just completely was like, no, dude, I'm not killing them.
But that just goes to show how much Quinn relies on Sonny. And I think just how their relationship just goes really far back and how solid it is and how much he relies on him because he doesn't give second chances, as he said. But yet Sonny is like the exception.
Right.
Maybe he wouldn't even give a second chance to Ryder. We don't even know that. But to Sonny, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very much like Sonny is sort of the heir, I guess, or would be picked to succeed Quinn, especially now because he knows that his time is super limited. So, I'm curious to see how that plays out, given that Sonny is trying to make like a break for it, or what is happening. So we'll have some pretty good predictions later on, I think.
But on that air thing as well, it's that moment where they're all around the table, and I think Quinn says to Ryder, he's like, good work, son, about the thing that ended up being bait, right? But leading them to that warehouse. I always feel like there's a play back and forth between, is it going to be Ryder, is it going to be Sonny? And I always just kind of see the balance kind of shift a little bit. like, back and forth.
We
Yeah.
we have a little bit of predictions here in the chat.
Ooh,
We have,
excellent.
ZZ Rock Zora. Maybe it is set in the future. So one day the world fell into ruin and they had to start over. So that is the reason
Pretty
why
good.
things are so weird.
Oh, okay.
And then Renji 90998 says, "I'm shipping MK and Matilda." Do you guys agree?
Ooh. Wait, they want MK and Tilda? Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's definitely happening.
Oh no, I think that's shipped. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
packaged,
that is packaged,
ready to go. That's under the tree already.
And I loved her cover.
tree already.
I totally loved her cover of like kissing him. I just feel like no mom's gonna suspect that. She's just gonna be like, hey,
Right.
like go to your room or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've had a chemistry. I mean, it wasn't like, because they're still kids, it wasn't as played out as some romances, but there was definitely like, she was playing on the field when she met him and kind of caught him, and he's kind of like the unannounced like traveler that kind of falls in her lap. So they had a very intense meet cute when she was murdering squirrels.
And I love how Tilda's willing kind of to defy her mother as
Right.
well to kind of protect MK.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I like her character a lot, because she's obviously very good at what she does. I mean, Minerva / the widow doesn't even think twice about bargaining with her and throwing her into the fire to, close this deal, and she does it in like a second with a sweet splits move, like two snapping necks.
I just like the fact that MK saw it and he was like, okay.
He's like, okay, I gotcha.
Not messing with
Yeah.
Tilda.
Don't mess with
Do not
you.
cross Tilda.
Okay,
Get
I'm
her.
just gonna,
stay
I'll
on
make a
good
note of
side.
that,
Tilda.
put it on a sticky note on the
Yeah,
wall.
exactly.
Don't do that.
And I'm gonna
Do
try and
not
leave as
pull
soon as I
Tilda's
can.
hair, ever.
Gotta get out of here.
Gotta get my butt out of here.
But she's also really smart. I mean, she showed, time and time again that she was super, like, hyper aware of what's going on around her, not just outsmarting MK and kind of double, like, flanking him, but everywhere. I mean, outsmarting even her mom, like when she was getting grilled about, like you said, having the opportunity to go to one of her sisters, or, even with the whole interaction of MK, like drawing the blood. She was able to see like so many moves ahead of that whole thing going down.
Yeah, and I love that. I thought that was an awesome way to kind of make the good side, I guess, proliferate and kind of succeed, because she protected him.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many shades of gray with this whole like everybody. I'm like, who is good? Is there any good? Is it just everybody's degrees of bad? But Tilda, I think, is sort of like the shining light. I mean, she still kills people, but who doesn't?
But in this world, I think that's okay. That's accepted. It's like
Right.
a currency.
It's the norm. I
Yeah.
feel like it's to kill.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
survive.
it's kill or be killed for sure.
Yeah.
But she definitely seems like the
She has a
highest morality
Yeah.
of all the characters that we've seen.
Yeah, because she's willing to, put herself on the line. I don't know how much on the line she would be, because she's still like Minerva,
Yeah.
the widow's daughter. So I don't know how bad that punishment would be, but put herself on the line for this kid she doesn't know. But maybe a kid that represents like freedom, or or has a path, or has a journey that needs to be done.
Right.
you
I mean,
know?
she at least like experiences everything for herself. Like, she finds her own answers. She, listens to people, but it's also like, I'm going to see for myself. Like, I'm going to like actually she doesn't just take people's word for it.
No, she
Which is
totally
cool.
experiences it herself, which is amazing to see. And it's such a young character too.
Yes.
She feels like kind of almost like a little bit wise and older beyond her years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very precocious for sure.
Very, totally.
Nice. Yeah. No, I think we're all Tilda fans, which is good.
Go Tilda!
Team Tilda over here.
Team Tilda.
Well, yeah, I mean, it must have not been the first time that she was used as a weapon like that, because she didn't even think twice. Like, she was very much so used as a pawn by her mom, and there was no love lost by that.
But either the widow has a lot of confidence in her daughters, which makes total sense because they're completely like outrageously amazing, or it's just funny that she would be even willing to say that thought about like, well, yeah, you can take her, I guess, or
Yeah.
like accepting that bargain. But she must have a lot of confidence because
Yeah, no problem at all.
I
Just
also think that even
Clean
if,
house.
let's say she did perchance lose, I feel like if they did take her, it would be hell to pay for them to get her back, one. Two, do you think, I don't know why this crossed my mind, but do you think because her love for MK might be stronger than her, seeing her mom like go into these bad ways of trying to take over all of the Badlands, and maybe she'll have to face her mom in the future?
I think MK represents something like positive, something good left in the world, even if it's just like this, just a small thing that maybe she sees.
No, there's definitely an innocence to MK where that she hasn't seen before, and I think that's what's leading her to kind of see what else is beneath him and sort of like what his story is because she knew. It seems that she's only known the world inside the walls of her mom's house and sort of the other. The rest of the Badlands, I guess.
We have some stuff that people are saying.
Ooh,
in
nice.
chat.
Yeah,
Apparently,
let's chime in.
Tilda is not the widow's blood daughter. According to the bios, Tilda was rescued from an abuser.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that makes a lot more sense because I was like,
make a lot more sense.
The widow looks very young.
Yeah, I don't think she's had children yet.
Right.
I think she just calls.
Maybe it's daughters just to
yeah
her ladies
Right.
of the house.
because she wants because they call her mother. So that might just be a thing that they do. But yeah, no, it looks like
Interesting.
yeah.
But I mean, the loyalty almost of like a mother-daughter relationship is there.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that the widow raised her. That's probably where that love is coming from and loyalty. But yeah, it looks like according to the AMC bios, Tilda was rescued by the widow, so she is not her blood daughter.
Got it. Well, that makes a lot more sense in terms of her motivations, why she's so nice in an otherwise like very evil world. I mean, she chose to slice her own hand open and kind of fake the whole interaction with MK just to prove, the widow, to get the widow off her back for a little bit, which worked so far. I mean, I'm not holding my breath because I feel like the widow definitely has seen some things in her day.
I'm surprised that the widow didn't go in there herself and do it. Just because I feel like that's a really important thing that this
Right.
the kind of aura surrounding this kid is too important, I would have probably wanted to do it
Maybe
myself.
because the fact that he trusts Tilda more, that she thought it would be better for her to do
easier.
it. Yeah, it would be easier for her to do it than having the widow.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely seems like the go-to, like, hit woman, I guess.
Yeah.
There is a moment, though, after she ends up, it's just, like, swiping that guy's neck and absolutely murdering him. She does have, like, a moment that I think it's kind of long in the scene between her and MK. And I think she's almost having, like, a moment where she's thinking, like, oh, God, this is, like, what I am, And just all that brutality and violence that goes into it. I think seeing MK's face, a little bit horrified with what's going on, kind of puts it into perspective for her, too. And I think that's also why they have such an interesting bond, because I think she realizes like what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's again his innocence, and sort of seeing that gives kind of a reality check to Tilda, where she's like, oh, this isn't normal. Like people should be reacting like that to necks being snapped instead of just,
not just
great job, like pat on the back.
Tilda.
Awesome.
High five. Tilda.
High five.
Yeah, just
Good job.
well done. That was a great,
great
neck
one.
snap.
Ice cream?
Perfect. Yeah.
Ice cream? Want to go get ice
That
cream?
was a great neck snap.
You should take a bath.
You should go take a bath.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
soothing
You
and
stink.
amazing.
Yeah,
No,
just
kidding.
you
Also,
work.
ice cream.
Yeah, crazy. But okay, so I think we've talked about Tilda a good amount. Waldo, I do want to get into because, he is a new character. And there's a lot of Easter eggs, I think. I mean, you definitely pointed one out, Maria, when we were watching. The tattoos on his neck sort of are the same as the marks that Sonny has on his back.
I would have
Yeah.
never noticed that.
I know,
Maria's got
yeah.
a good eye, guys.
Good eye. No, that
Keep up with
was
that.
like awesome because
Awesome.
not only does it show that he's very well connected into the whole Clipper thing, but that he's had so many that it's literally like coming out of his collar.
I kind of hope, again, another weird prediction of mine, two things. One, I hope that he's mentor for Sunny, or was a mentor, because I'm assuming Sunny had to be a cult at one point to
Right.
have a
I'm going to
Clipper.
piggyback on that. I think that's awesome.
And two, I want to see maybe at one point, because since he is in a wheelchair, he's going to probably need help to do things. So maybe there's a point where he has to like take a bath or something, or shower, and you get to see all of his tattoos since it's all the way up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
'cause
probably covered. I feel like
That
the
would be
neck is
awesome.
probably like one of the last places you would get
Yeah.
tatted
Yeah,
up.
because Sunny has like 420 or more
Yeah.
now, but they're all on his back and they don't really like climb up there. But his they're definitely coming out
Yeah,
here.
and
So.
Yeah.
you can see it a little bit in the front too. So I'm like, his whole body.
Yeah,
has
it
to
must be just
covered.
like
Oh,
checked.
that's gonna be so cool.
That's
If they do
badass.
that.
Yeah.
I think he's a former regent. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
and possibly Quinn's former regent because he is wearing red.
He is wearing red.
So-
He is.
Yeah.
He's definitely still wearing the tribe's
What do we think
colors.
his role is now, though? 'Cause
I
he's taking
mean,
care
I
of
think
her.
he's retired. It seems like he's in a wheelchair, so maybe because of his long standing career, if you can call it that, maybe the last interaction went a little bit south, and he had to take a retirement role with the birds.
Yeah.
So he's hanging out with the birds.
Just chilling with his parakeet.
I mean, it would be cool if that's just a cover that he's using,
Ooh, that
and
would be
maybe
cool.
he's
Ooh.
still like super.
Can you imagine
involved.
seeing him?
Not
as-
Yeah.
seeing
I mean,
him
yeah, he's-
standing up and just like going to.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
he's
you're blowing my
definitely
mind.
older, so his legs might work, and he's just sort of, been around the block, obviously, enough to have his whole body like covered in these death checks.
But I think it's more of like nobody knows, but then I'm gonna whip it out. Like
I know, he's
I'm gonna
shrouded
whip
in
out that I'm
mystery.
like,
It's
exactly. He's totally shrouded in
No
mystery.
whipping it out though.
No,
Yeah.
none,
Yes,
none
thank
of
you,
that.
thank you, Alexis.
None-
I
none-
second the
I'm just
no
messing with
whipping
you.
it
You know,
out.
no. As I'm saying it, I'm like, huh?
I mean, they do use swords in this show. Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
But no,
yeah.
okay. Speaking of getting out,
Oh, here we
let's talk about them leaving. I mean, Sunny brings up to Waldo, like, have you ever thought about leaving? And seeing what else is out there. And Waldo pretty much shuts that down, which shows a lot. I mean, obviously, Sunny trusts him enough to bear his soul sort of about what he's thinking about, which is leaving the whole community, which is punishable by death. That's intense in itself, showing their relationship, but how much and how quickly Waldo is to shut that down.
Yeah, he has. First of all, he might have never had an interest in that, and I think he understands kind of where this idea is coming from, kind of like the dreamer perspective, knowing that there maybe isn't anything out there, or maybe he just never experienced anything better than what is in the Badlands. And I mean, it's better, I guess, for him to be alive than to really put your life on the line for something that you have no certainty exists.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things should not be overturned, like some Pandora's boxes shouldn't be opened. And I think that's what he's kind of getting at. Like, it's such a dangerous thought. Like, he's showing the mentor role, and hopefully that he is that character for Sunny, because he definitely protects him in that way.
Well, it looks like Rock Zora apparently said Waldo was Sunny's mentor and Waldo was a
Confirmed.
regent. So
Nice.
that's what he said. Everyone feels like he is going to be a huge part of the series as a possible mentor for Sunny. There is a prediction up here that I wanted to read before we move on.
Ooh, excellent.
Gerard Rayford said, I predict MK will be more dangerous than Sunny after Sunny trains him. That kind of power plus Sunny's training will make him possible threats to all barons.
Oh, pff.
Yes,
Yep.
for sure. I
That's-
agree.
Completely agree.
That I think we can confirm
Scott
for sure.
G has a question for everyone. Do you think the birds are messenger birds? That's what they
Ooh.
were using them for, and that's why that bird
Maybe.
got injured, because maybe someone tried to cut it or something.
Oh,
or got
Messenger
hurt.
birds.
Or
Well,
got
yeah, I mean,
killed.
they're not sending texts or emails, so I can only
That
assume
we know of.
it's by way of bird.
I think that's a great prediction. I didn't think of that, but totally. I think that's absolutely possible.
Yeah, no, I
That
mean,
would be so cool.
they do it in Game of Thrones, so.
Yeah, they do, and that's that's a classic, messenger role for a pigeon. So I think that's totally possible.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, that's a really great
Yeah,
question,
no,
Scott.
great,
I'm so
really
glad that
good
you asked.
observation.
But
Thank
then,
you, Scott.
But then, who's he talking to?
That's what I'm saying. Who are we Is that like how we're communicating for all the product that we're making? Like, is that how we get that all out there? Is by sending messenger birds like across the Badlands?
Well, no, yeah, I would love if there was like a deeper connection with Waldo and maybe Azra, and like maybe that's where the birds are going because it's outside of like their normal trade routes with the other barons.
Or maybe even just a plan outside of just the widow to take Quinn down. So like maybe more people getting involved. Because he doesn't seem like somebody that people love and that people want to.
No,
they fear, but
I completely agree with you.
Right.
Maria. I feel like there's something that Quinn is not like completely telling us, and same thing with like his whole family. And I think that the other barons are like, we need to get rid of him.
There's a reason the widow is going after him so ferociously.
I thought maybe she was a scorn lover, person, interest, something like that, and that's why she wants to just get rid of him so badly, but I have no idea. That's just
Well, yeah, I mean, my assumption was, her character is obviously the widow. Maybe her husband was killed by by Quinn.
But then Quinn also says, I think in the previous episode, that she murdered her husband.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that was
okay.
that
Never
too.
mind
so
then.
I was like,
I retract.
So I was thinking maybe since Quinn maybe was the brother of the Baron and that she killed, and then maybe she's also just trying to kill, like, I don't know, him off too. I have no idea. There's so many questions, and it's only episode 2.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, that's great. The world that they've created is so vibrant. It's so, like, encompassing that there are these connections. And in only 2 episodes, like, you talk about other sort of ensemble, like, feudal shows, again, Game of Thrones to bring up, but that took forever to introduce things, and it was such a slow start. That's why I really love this show, where it just gets into the action. We have these insanely elaborate fight scenes, but there's also so much story there behind it that it really gets into like the political aspects as well.
If I'm not mistaken, actually, the show didn't have like a pilot and then ordered a season. It went straight to series, so they had a lot going on this, and I think the story helped it in that way, because you don't really have to have like all these different steps to get there. You know that you're gonna be able to bank on this like amazing, vibrant story. So I think that has definitely worked in their favor. That makes any sense.
A lot.
Yeah,
no,
I
I
agree.
do. I'm a
agree
big
with
fan
you.
of this show.
I think it's going to be great. I'm so excited to see what happens, especially since I know a lot of people are talking about we want to see the pasts of everybody, like the widow and Quinn, and I want to see full flesh Sonny to see what happened before he got all the tattoo and started killing people. Like, it's very interesting.
And the fact that he picked up that pendant when he, the thing when he was a boy, like
the compass.
Yeah, and the compass. What did I say? The compass.
You were technically correct. It has the
There's a pendant. There's a pendant in the compass.
A lot of things going on.
It's just, and maybe just this keeping it for so long. It's like, why keep it? So I think we're gonna get more of that in the coming episodes.
Yes. No, I can't wait. I mean, a lot of stuff going on. Sonny. Speaking of Sonny, him telling Vale everything. I mean, that really shows how much of a committed relationship they do have, where he does trust her. He's very trusting with a lot of people. I mean, again, they must be people that are very close to him, but it seems like he takes a lot of liberties. He is sort of the golden knight, I guess, of that whole society, but he is very upfront with Quinn. He tells Waldo sort of what's on his mind, and he tells Vale without being afraid that anything's going to happen, or that he's being wiretapped, I guess, or no one's ears to the door is probably more likely.
I knew what you meant. I was like, oh, wiretap, JB.
Some technology here, some modern stuff.
Exactly. It's probably just a cup with a string, maybe.
For you kids out there, Google that if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It works. That's the real sorcery.
I've never tried that, but I've heard.
It's kind of crazy. When you do it as a kid, you're like, what? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see sort of what happens behind the scenes in Sonny's figuring out his family, sort of leaving, and how they're gonna bounce out of this whole society. I mean, he definitely needs to do that because having a family is not allowed.
Right, but if he leaves, then Quinn will come after him, or at least that's what they've been pitching during this episode.
He's in such a rock and hard place.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, of course you would, at this point, I think he wants the baby to survive. It's not like you have to get rid of it anymore. I think there's like this changed for him, especially after having seen Quinn.
Exactly. I think seeing Quinn murder the innocent people, I think really struck a chord with Sonny. I mean, he has never really questioned him. I mean, again, we haven't seen everything in their past, but it seemed like that was the first time, Quinn had said, "I don't give people second chances." So that kind of confirmed that it was the first interaction of that magnitude that has happened. So I'm really interested to see how that rift between Sonny and Quinn, Sonny and the whole being in the Badlands, this world, really opens up, especially now knowing that trinket, the compass, the symbol of Azra, is a real thing, and it's not just like a fabricated once-off toy that he found.
It must be something extraordinary. Otherwise, the widow wouldn't be so drilling in this idea of I need this boy that has the pendant that looks like this. It's got to mean something, extraordinary,
right.
And it has to be real at this point. I feel like there's no doubt that it's well.
Exactly. I'm surprised that there are so many things that point to Azra. The widow had the book. She had the tarot card. If there's so much memorabilia and souvenirs from Azra, it's like, how does no one know about it? I mean, again, it seems like
I
a very...
literally think all the barons know about it.
Right, and it's just I
don't think anyone
suppressed
else knows.
for sure.
Yeah, I think...
it seems like a very communistic society where there's dictators and stuff.
Yes,
so.
there has to be some sort of higher power.
It's almost like an oligarchy,
Yeah.
in a way. But yeah, I think it's a good way to keep control for the barons to
Absolutely.
keep repressing all these people. It's the easiest way to control them. But then you're gonna have the people come up and rise against them. So it's not gonna last. It's all gonna start disintegrating.
Yeah, things are starting to spiral out, and I could not be more excited to watch them. Speaking of spiraling out, MK tries to escape. Unsuccessfully, obviously. Classic MK.
Classic MK.
But he gets to make out with Tilda, so there's a plus.
There's always a win there.
A win.
Very serendipitous for him.
I don't know if this was his first kiss or whatever, but hey.
It seemed like she kissed him, by the way.
Yes.
He was all about it, obviously. So.
Yeah,
Obviously.
no objections there.
All right, if that's what we gotta do.
Get in your face.
It's just that moment where he says, where Sonny asks him, how did you get here? And he's like, it doesn't matter, because poor guy has literally been hot potatoed just from one side to the other, and it's just I don't even know how I got here. I don't even know where I'm going at this point. So I just felt a lot for him, because he has such a specific goal, and it's going to be hard to get there. And I think he's finally realizing that it's not just about running away. It's not just about running through the woods. It's this cannot be done alone, which I think is what Sonny ends up pitching to him.
I definitely don't give him enough credit, because he is, whenever they show him, he's very scared. So I think that's part of why. At the same time, he is trying to find his mom. He's a young kid. He's on the run, running from these people that murder each other and beat each other up. And it might not be a world he's used to at all. For all we know, Azra is probably a nice hippie town where they're all just chilling.
That would
We
be
don't know.
hysterical if it was a hippie town. I would have been like, really?
Oh.
So that's where all the poppy oil powder
Exactly. That's where they grow the opium. Just chilling by the beach.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Speaking of opium, I did want to touch on one thing that I did notice, because we were talking about how this whole they were talking about the bait and how they got Ryder. An interesting moment where Minerva's one of her daughters, the blonde one, sees I guess it was a prostitute with Ryder.
Yeah, they're called dolls, but it's essentially a prostitute.
Looks up at her, and I guess she was doing some kind of signal with the clothesline, saying that she had pulled it off. So that was kind of a cool moment where, they are conveying something, but they didn't explain it in a sort of a spoon-feeding way, which I like a lot about this series, because we have only so few episodes. It really rewards rewatching and paying attention to the close details.
Yeah, I was unsure about the bait at first. I'm like, wait, what is the bait? Because I realized, I was like, what? And then it's the trap, right? That they end up getting into, which surprised me a little bit about Sonny, just because he seems so meticulous and so cautious and so calculated that then he's like, well, we'll go scout it out. And I'm like, you wouldn't have like backup, it's just you and Ryder. That's it.
No, I agree with you. I think he probably should have done like a scouting trip. I mean, the whole trip was a scout, I guess, essentially, and it was a trap, so they're probably hiding. But still, I mean, you should do a little bit of recon, right?
Yes, bring
a little bit of
people
recon
with you, because you never know what kind of trouble you'll get into. And obviously, we wouldn't have that amazing scene that I was like,
True.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ryder is dead. Like, he was up there for a really long
he gets
time.
choked out and passes out.
That was scary.
That was ridiculous. I was just like, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Sonny would be smart enough to kind of do a little bit of
perimeter check or something.
At the same time, he's the type of badass that can handle a trap like that. He killed everybody. Like, I mean, he got into a bit of a pickle at the end, being choked by the pipe after being hit in the face with it, but he killed like 30 people.
Totally.
Without much problem.
Yes, he did. By himself.
By himself. Ryder was choking like in the rafters, and he was just like two swords dicing around. People. Speaking of which, honorable mentions of awesomeness. The move where Sonny like slices 3 people's necks at the same time. Awesome. When he like deflects the hatchet back like into the dude's chest. Killer, classic
and so it's
move.
just like it was so like serious and just like just so simple for him,
Right.
It's just like he does this all the time. It's just like swipe and it went right back.
It was just business as usual. Like he was just like, phew,
it's almost like, what else you got?
No problem. He was literally outnumbered like 50-1 and had it. Like walk in the park.
And that's, I think you see like the brilliance and just the talent of Danny Wu, like doing this amazing job with the choreography and with the swords, and it's just a pleasure to watch. And just the staging and with the fan, we all love that fan thing with the, right in front of the fan. It was just like it was beautiful. The sets are working, the staging's working.
No, exactly.
Good job.
We talked a lot about the story being so good, which it is, but there's so much that goes into those fight scenes that a lot of shows just are like, okay, action scene, let's Michael Bay this with an explosion and like a truck that flips over.
Explosion.
They really take the time to like make it look so cool, and that's I think we were missing that without having very many like martial art shows. Having that art in those scenes really shines through. I mean,
well, someone on the not in the chat, but on the comments last week brought up that there are a few shows that do have martial art fight scenes.
No,
they're
definitely.
They're not the way that
they're not as intricate, or I haven't seen ones in a while.
Yeah, the one that I would depict would probably be Daredevil. Would be pretty close.
Daredevil, it's pretty good.
Choreography is pretty good there, but like Arrow and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's there, but it's not as intricate as this show.
Well, it's just this is one of the like fundamentals of this show,
exactly.
Which I think in for those other shows it's not. For this one, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's. Everything is sort of leading up to these scenes in a meaningful way, and it's not just like, okay, we need to kill time. Let's like have action scenes and like a car chase. It's really done very well. They take the utmost care. I mean, even the fight on the rafters where they were kind of like balancing out. So cool. I mean, obviously the stunt choreography was top notch, but even the cinematography of the camera moves, like, kind of strafing left and right with him kind of made you feel like you were up there and like dodging attacks and like having to balance. It's crazy. It's such an awesome scene.
It's really good. Absolutely. I agree. Choreography on point.
Yes, props to everybody on the Into the Badlands crew, because you're killing it right now. Literally and in the show.
Yes.
Love that.
But that was very cool.
Scott G brought up that there's so many tattoos after that fight. I was like, yes,
yes
I couldn't even count.
Oh my god.
How many people that were there. I was
Where is Sonny gonna put him?
It's gonna be a while in the chair.
No, at this point he has to have tattoos in the front because there's no way he can fit any more in the back. They make them really tiny.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Sonny is so good at his job, but only had. I mean, I guess it was a lot more than it looked just on his back, 420. But, I mean, if he does that and just has, like, 50 kill days, I'm surprised that he has enough skin to have all these tattoos.
But I think times are changing within this world, so I think we're gonna see a lot more kills versus like
Right.
maybe before, let's say like this show started, the world may have been kind of in like a not calm, but like kind of peaceful, kind of like the status was just
Right.
continuing. There wasn't any changes. Now there's like these big changes happening. So yeah, he's gonna need some more ink.
Right. Well, yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, because there are, I think you mentioned 7, I guess, different factions that, there may have been more of like a homeostasis happening before, and now it's a much more tumultuous where we're seeing some turbulent times. People are being overthrown. Widow is coming for blood. It's going to be awesome to see. I mean, now that MK and Sunny went back to the farm, I'm really curious to see how that training goes. Sunny took his first colt, which is kind of a big deal, as MK is going to start training him so he can send his wife, or I guess they're not married legally, his
Vale.
companion,
His
Vale,
lady.
his baby's mama, or to be at least,
To be baby mama.
out with him. So that's gonna be really cool. I love training montages. So
And that's that's obviously, I feel like Sunny's main interest with the kid is getting her safely out
Right.
of there, but also kind of helping him along the way. And I think it's so interesting that he hasn't taken a cult before, which says so much about Sunny. But then as Quinn, I would be, because this boy kind of came to me in a weird situation where it's like, what does the widow want with him? And all of a sudden Sunny wants him as a cult. I'd be like red flags everywhere.
Right.
But I guess because Quinn trusts Sunny so much, they're not happening yet. But I think they're going to pop up for sure.
exactly. I mean, I wasn't as surprised by Sunny not doing or having a cult before, just because he would have to show that kind of loyalty to Quinn, and if you're, sharing that loyalty with another apprentice, that would be called into question. But it's interesting, sort of, that these questions are coming up now, how Quinn is going to react to them, knowing the stakes of everything. I mean, he knows that he's about to die, or in the coming months, and there's a lot of changes going on. He may have picked Sunny to succeed him. How's that going to go when all of his behavior is changing? Not only with having an apprentice, but also with Vale seeing the murders, like becoming a dad. Like, there's so much going on. I can't wait.
There is. It's like overload, but in a great way. Because it's literally, it's nonstop. And I think if you're going to make entertaining television, it's the way to go.
Yes, definitely. Plus, Sunny's the only one that's actually seen what MK's could do.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody else has seen that. They, like, even the widow has just like heard of it, but she's not
Right.
she's not aware of the extent.
That's what's really interesting, is because, will Sunny have to legitimize why he chose MK as his cult? Because he kind of seems like a little scared kid, other than his, like, insane power to, like, turn into a superhuman and kill people with, like, shards of glass.
So in the previous episode, I know that when Sunny fights with the widow's men, I guess, right in the rain scene, which was awesome, she says that you can't kill a baron. You
Right.
can't do that. So I'm wondering, like, if he's taking this kid under his wing, is she going to come after him specifically? And then does that change at all the perspective of, like, not killing barons? Does that going to alter anything?
Intense. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and
I was
see
like,
on that one.
I
I
don't
have
think I can even
no
answer that
idea.
question. I was like, whoa,
that's a good
gosh.
question, though.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, good food for thought, though. We do, after, I mean, I could talk about this show all day, and probably will after this. But we do have to wrap up. Any predictions that you guys see sort of coming up for episode 3?
Your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
So I think last week I said I think there's going to be a one-on-one between the widow and Sunny, and then I was like, is there? I totally think so now, especially after taking MK under the wing. So I'm hoping, and I will be very excited to see that. So that's what I'm predicting. But I just think at this point Quinn it's like no shame, which is pretty much his MO. But I think there's going to be less of shame now. It's just going to be like everything goes,
Right.
and we're going to see him kind of unravel immensely.
Ooh, good point. Well, I definitely see unraveling kind of as a major theme in the show. I think Ryder is going to get revived and be super PO'd about the whole situation.
And hopefully we find out what happened with his foot, because that was interesting.
Yeah.
Can we
gross.
not talk about the foot? That was so gross.
I mean, like,
that was so gross.
I just have, it just gives me more questions. A, how did that happen? But B, like, why would you go through the trouble of wearing like a metal, like, claw on your foot? Like, you know, you're just like, it's very badly, he got very badly burned, it looks like, but he's just missing a couple toes. Like, his foot's still there for the most part. Like, would you really need that whole metal thing?
Toes, JP.
Well, he is like, he's got like the big toe.
Yeah, he's got the big toe and the little.
But I mean, do you really need toes to like walk?
I feel like he would limp if not. But doesn't he have like a slight limp? I thought that.
I have to rewatch it.
I mean, I've
no
always
idea.
had all my toes, so I guess I can't say
like
for
apparently,
sure.
if you lose your pinky toe, you're off balance.
Really?
Yeah.
Those pinkies are so important.
That's what
Fair enough.
what I've learned. That's what I've learned. I thought maybe he had diabetes and he lost his toes, but it wouldn't make sense for the whole foot to look like that. So I don't know.
Oh, there's got to be something else.
Pinky
and also,
toes.
he kind of likes it when people massage it. So there's sorry. I'm just saying. I think there's more to Ryder that we haven't seen yet, and maybe like a bit of a twisted man here. So
Very
definitely.
much
I mean,
so.
I feel like I know Ryder, and it's no good.
No, he seems like a very twisted, tormented soul, and I want to know what's happening.
No, well, yeah, I can't wait to see him be. I mean, he seems like the biggest problem, biggest like thorn in everybody's plans. Like he's gonna be the guy to screw everything up. So I can't wait to see that.
I think that there's going to be a giant. Hi, James. I think there's going to be a giant face-off between Sunny and the Widow, but I think the Widow will get to MK and then use MK against Sunny, and there's going to be this whole like I trained you because I love Star Wars. So I was like, oh, it's going to be like this crazy thing.
And also the repercussions on Tilda though when she finds out that MK was the one. Yeah, that's gonna go down.
Chosen one. I don't know.
She knows kind of because I feel like that's why she didn't cut him because she like wanted to protect that.
Well, I'm saying like when the Widow finds out that was the kid that they let go.
Oh yeah.
She's gonna be like.
What
did you just do? And
she's gonna have a talking with Tilda.
I think talking is putting it real light.
I think there's just gonna be some sword fighting. That's what I'm expecting.
How cool would that be though? Tilda and the Widow. That would be so cool to watch.
I was saying, I think
it's
mother
like the
and daughter are
best
gonna
cat
go
fight
at it.
ever.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of family fighting.
Well, hopefully that happens because that would be the best.
That would be so cool.
I fully support that. Awesome. Well, yeah. Until next week, where can the people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at MGCVSST.
Nice. Alexis, where can they find you?
You can find me all over social media as ATorres890.
Nice. And you guys can find me at JB_Zimmerman on all social media. Please, if you guys love this show, please rate and review it on iTunes, on YouTube. Leave comments. We love to read them. We love to hear your theories and what you guys want to see in the coming episodes. See you guys later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.